Perfect. Okay, so I think there was like 5 people that had interviews coming up. So we had Pav, we had a few other guys in the community that had interviews coming up. So let's see if anyone joins. Hey guys, today we'll do interview prep with like 4 or 5 people that have tech sales interviews coming up. I'm just waiting for those guys to join and then we will jump into the interview prep. So today is not really a Q&A. It's more like an interview prep session with people that have interviews coming up. So whoever is in the free community like Pav and the other guys that have interviews coming up, jump on the live as a guest. Send me your interview email or your job description and tell me a little bit more about the interview, and then we can go through what you need to work on to be prepped for your interview that's coming up. For new people that are joining, so we run we run a little community where we help people break into tech, and essentially what we're doing today is we're helping people get prepared for their upcoming interviews for SDR, BDR roles. So I think I don't want to mention people's names, but if you guys are on here, click to join as a guest, and then we can start with the interview prep. Okay, so let's see.
Hi. Oh, hi, Timo. Otter is, you know who that is, right? So.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. He wants to jump on as a guest. Hey, man, how's it going?
Milan, what's going on? You good?
Oh, hey, bro. How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I hope you're better, man. The ear infection took a toll on you.
Yeah. Dude, today even it's definitely getting better. Yeah. That's why the community was a little bit quiet. But the reason that we set up the call today is because obviously people like yourself, you have interviews coming up, and I want to do like a live prep session so you're fired up for the first round interview. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit more about yourself, the interview that's coming up, and the role that you're doing the interview for, and then we can go into like a little bit of a discussion on how you can best prepare for the interview that you have.
Cool. Do you want me to? I don't think I should mention the name of the company.
No, don't mention the name of the company. Just like mention the role, a little bit more about yourself, and like your background, and like this is your first interview in this industry, right? So then we can actually go into like a proper discussion about how you should best prepare for it.
Yeah. Okay. So for everyone who doesn't know, I'm 19. My name is Mustafa, and I'm trying to break into tech sales. I'm currently studying cyber. I don't go uni, but I finished college, and I have some experience in sales. Now I got an inbound opportunity through LinkedIn for a very well established business who's looking to expand their team in London with like young SDRs, and it's a really great program, great progression. You really learn. You work close with account executives, and like there's really good progression like within a year. I don't know, you become an account executive, there's 3 stages, whatnot. You just literally learn everything an SDR does. That's about it, really.
Also, but you've never really done an SDR or BDR interview at a tech company, right?
No, not at all, no.
Okay, cool. So this is the first one ever. So did they tell you how many stages they are? Because usually there's about 4 stages of interviews for an SDR or BDR or at a company. Do you know how many interviews you have?
They didn't say the specific amount. They only mentioned that this is the first one in the email, but I didn't ask them.
Okay, but is it like an assessment center, or is it like a one-to-one phone call?
No,
like a HR phone call.
It's a one-to-one phone call. So it's actually with my recruiter, and then I think there's like maybe 2 more, and then the last one is with the CFOs.
The CFO.
Yeah.
Why is it with the CFO? This is a sales role.
Just the CFOs. I don't know. She just mentioned the fact that it was with the CFOs, 2 CFOs, just maybe I don't know to see how I am. This is like the final. Like this is after like I should be getting the job. Just having a discussion with the CFOs.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Do me a favor, bro. On WhatsApp, send me the job description, okay, and then we can talk about it, right? Whilst you're doing that, this is obviously just the first round HR recruiter interview. It's going to be all about logistics. She or he is just going to confirm your title, what you're doing right now, how much you're making, your salary expectations, your notice period, just like basic stuff just to confirm everything you say on your CV is accurate, right? So there's not much that you have to prepare for, but you might get the odd question like, why X company, number one. Number two, why tech sales, right? Those are the two questions that might pop up. So you definitely have to prepare for those two questions because there's a small chance that they do pop up. I actually interviewed at this company that you're referring to.
Oh, really?
Because I know them well. This was for an internship in 2019. And I got rejected after the cold call. Sorry, not the cold call interview, but after the demo interview. So basically what they did with me was there was a HR recruiter call, a sales manager interview, blah, blah, blah. Then there was like a sales exercise type of interview, and I failed because I wasn't asking the right questions, I wasn't handling the objections properly, and I was pitching too hard whilst not really understanding the customer's problem. So then I got rejected, right? That is going to be the hardest stage for you. That stage is going to require the most amount of prep from what you need to do.
Yeah, because they said that they're going to do the role play exercise as the last exercise on the first interview. So I'll definitely prepare for that.
Oh, okay. So in the first interview, you have to do the exercise?
Yeah. Do you want me to send it over to you? Like it's got everything. You need.
Yeah, send it over to me. Send it over to me on WhatsApp so I can have a proper look. Yeah. Okay, cool. While C's paused, basically what we're doing today is we're helping some community members prepare for their tech sales interviews that are coming up. So a lot of these guys are getting interviewed for SDR, sales development representative roles at tech companies. And essentially what we're doing today is we're basically prepping them so they can pass that stage of the interview and hopefully get the job. Timo said, tell us a little bit about the play exercise. So usually in a sales development representative interview process, they have an exercise where you have to either cold call someone, cold call an executive, or you have to demo a product. And basically you got to do a good job or else they just immediately going to reject you, right? Because that's pretty much the job. Yeah, the role play is a bit daunting, but it's weird because most SDR, BDR roles don't really have a role play like an actual demo. That's for more like account executives. Whereas at this particular company, they do a role play, which is like a video type of call. That is a bit more daunting than a cold call because a cold call, you can just hide behind the screen, have your script open, ask the right questions, handle the objections, all that kind of stuff. Cool. So he just sent over the stuff for the interview. Are you there, bro? Are you still paused? Okay, you can come back to the live now, yeah?
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, perfect. So the agenda for the first interview will consist of 3 parts as follows. Intro. Okay, yeah, so they basically told you what you need to prep for.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. The recruiter even reached out to me. She was like, if you want any extra help, then just let me know.
Yeah, so the first thing you need to do, by the way, is book a call with her for extra help. Reconfirm everything that you're not sure about and write down loads and loads of notes. Remember, it's the recruiter's job to ensure that the best people get the job, number one. But number two, she has a quota, or the person that's interviewing you has a quota on the number of people that they interview compared to the number of people that they offer. So it's in that person's best interest to get you this job. So ask loads of questions, book as many calls with that person as you can. That's the first thing I'll tell you, okay? And then it says here, the agenda for the first interview will consist of 3 parts as follows. Intro, 69 seconds. Make sure you dive into 3 different sections about your self experience, why you're doing the interview, why sales, why Gartner, the power. Remember to bring 3 motivations for each one. Which one do you want to prep with first? Which one are you most confused about in this interview?
I mean, I think most of them are fine. It's just, do you know the one where she said the power of 3? I don't think she told me what that is. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, so I think what she's trying to say is like have three reasons for each one. So like the reason I want to work for this company is because of one, two, three. The reason I want to do tech sales is because of one, two, three. I think that's basically what she means. I haven't heard of that phrase before, but I think it's making sure that you have a good answer that has a lot of depth to it and you're explaining it properly by saying one, two, three, like bullet pointing it out.
Okay. And with the role play exercise, how do you think now that obviously you didn't get the job, what do you think you would have been able to do better? And
Yeah.
what do you think they kind of look for? Because you have friends that work at this company, don't you?
Yes, exactly. So actually, I will try and connect you with those guys. I'll message one of them we're not friends, but more like acquaintances. But I'll message him anyway on LinkedIn to see if he'll be happy to speak to you. That's one of the hacks, by the way. Whenever you have an interview at any company, literally go on LinkedIn, find 10 people that are doing the exact same role, and just tell the person, "Hey, man, look, I would love to prep with you for 30 minutes. I have an interview coming up with your company, and I would love to get your thoughts on it." I did that with a company called Databricks. And I got all the way to the final stage. I got rejected after because the panel interview that I did wasn't good. But that guy really helped me pass the exercise, the cold call part of the process. So to answer your question, bro, the role play, the reason I got rejected is because this was years ago, by the way. This was in 2019. So I can't remember everything. But the reason I got rejected was because I made some pretty obvious mistakes. I'm just reading the role play. Did they have a separate doc for the role play, like where they explain the role play, or?
I don't think they do. She just said that you don't have to prepare for it. Or that's what it said in the email.
Okay, yeah. So there'll be a short mini sales role play. You will not need to prepare for this. I've also, yeah, cool. So essentially, the way it's going to work is they're going to have the interviewer will basically pretend to be a potential customer, and you're going to be this company's representative, and there's going to be like a back and forth conversation. I think the reason I got rejected was because I didn't listen to the customer's main challenge, and I was just, I think I was just like answering random questions that the guy didn't even ask. So for example, we're gonna have this back and forth conversation. You have to listen really closely to what the guy is saying and actually write down notes. So if his objection is price or timing, or that there's an executive decision-making process that he has to go through, then you gotta write that exact objection down and come up with a good answer to it. Right? That was literally the only reason I got rejected, because the guy was telling me something entirely different and I was answering an entirely different question. And that was because I was super nervous. So one thing you got to do is find a few people on TikTok or people that you know and just prep with them. So get a script. I think they have one in the community, a cool script or a little demo script, and do like multiple practice sessions, because if you get nervous, you're going to forget something and then you're going to say something really dumb or say something that's entirely out of context. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the biggest thing is really to just like try this out and practice this role play multiple times over. And the reason they're not sharing the actual description for the role play is because they want to see how you act on the spot. That's why they're not telling you what the role play is. But usually the role play is you're the SDR or the account executive, and you're talking to a prospective customer, and they're going to see how you react, how you handle objections. Really, the most important things are to listen to the customer, ask the right questions, take notes down, handle objections, set next steps properly, confirm the set next steps, and make sure that the right people come to those next steps. That's kind of usually how the whole thing works in terms of when you're doing a demo or an exercise for a demo like this.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. All right. And when it comes to objection handling, what do you think is the best way to prep for that?
Yeah, so there's so many different ways they can handle objections. I would say do it in like a very basic way. Don't try and like get sexy with the whole objection handling thing and just like overcomplicate it for yourself. I would say write down the top 5 most common objections that come up, which are usually price, timing, I have to talk to someone else, or let me think about it, like give me more time to think about the whole thing, or I will go back and you send me more information. So those are like the 5 most common objections. If you can come up with 5 good answers for those 5 most common objections, you're going to be fine. And a lot of this will be available on like Reddit and on Google even, right? So come up with the 5 most common objections, write down some really good answers for those objections, and then just keep practicing that. That's literally the best thing I would say to you. The other thing is about being flexible. So just because you write down the answers to those objections, don't just read it out word for word. You have to be super flexible. And then the other thing to pay attention to, by the way, is if the customer keeps giving you the same objection and you give answer to that objection multiple times over, you have to at some point agree with the customer and move on, because they get really pissed off. And that's one of the reasons I got rejected at another interview, because the customer said 3 times, give me pricing. I tried to handle the objection. They said it again, give me pricing. I tried to handle it again. And they told me again. And then at the end of the interview, the person that was managing me, he was like, why didn't you just give me pricing?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes
sense.
sense.
You can always try and handle an objection, I would say 1 to 2 times. If they mention it a 3rd time, it's a genuine objection. Most objections are surface level, right? If they want to say they want to speak to their partner, it's usually a surface level objection. So you got to ask follow-up questions to go deep to find the real objection. Usually the real objection is really 3 things: pricing, they need more time, or they need more information on a specific thing of the product to make a proper decision. That's really what it really comes down to. So if you can cover and answer those 3 key objections, you should be fine. But again, you have to ask questions to get to the deeper level, to the deeper layer of the actual objection rather than the surface level objection.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, that's fine. And then, okay, so you know when they ask you in the interview why this company and like why this role and why this, do you kind of like have to look at like the mission of the company or like?
No, that's bullshit, man. You gotta do more niche research. For this company, it's easy because they're very well known for training and developing SDRs and BDRs and junior salespeople at a very high level. So that could be like number 1 reason as to why you want to work here. The other 2 reasons, you'll have to do some research and talk to people, and don't mention mission, don't mention vision or culture or environmental stuff. That's all bullshit. That's all fake. That's all made up. No one cares about that. What they care about and what the HR manager is going to care about is like specifically why you pick this specific company. Because if you care about training and development, this is the right company for you. So talk about that a lot if that's what you care about. If you care about the fact that they are a very big brand name and everybody knows them, and that would make your job easier and, you know, help you to sell to senior executives at the biggest companies in the world, then talk about that and talk about why that's important for you. Or conduct really niche research by talking to people, by interviewing other people that work there, and come up with inside answers from people that actually work inside the company.
Okay, that makes sense.
Don't mention a mission or vision or culture or any of that. That's all fake. Everything about culture and mission or vision is fake and made up. Especially for an SDR, BDR that's doing an entry-level role. You're telling me people really care about that shit? They don't. And people can see that you're just making that up because you've got nothing better to say.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
The important thing here, by the way, you have to show their traits. So I would always, one quick way to actually hack that and just like to just quickly come across as the kind of person that has all of those traits is to mention those specific keywords when you're doing the interview, right? So for example, professional, quick learner, that kind of stuff, mention it in your answers.
Okay, yeah.
Right? So if they ask you, tell me about a time when you built something new, whatever, you could be like, yeah, I'm actually a really quick learner. So I built a TikTok page and I got it to 10,000 followers within 90 days by implementing this specific strategy that I got from this specific person. And I did it in a very creative and unique way. And it really proves that I'm a quick learner because I was able to grow it to 10,000 followers in 90 days. And then the other one could be, they could be like, oh, what are your passions? You could be like, I'm a lifelong learner and I love learning about a specific language that very few people speak, whatever. And I've been learning it through online courses and by getting mentorship from people on these particular websites. Like you're inserting those specific keywords that they are looking for, those traits into your answer so that the HR or the recruitment manager doesn't even have to think the person is just like just ticking off boxes. The way that these people do interviews, by the way, because it's a huge company, is they have check boxes. So they just check it off, like literally check it off. So if you can mention those keywords like lifelong learner, blah, 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 that person will just literally tick it off and be like, oh yeah, this guy gave that answer. Okay?
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So just display the, traits that they want. And then, do you know when I had the intro call, she said that I was giving well-rounded answers, but she said try to just try to mention or input like specific things. Like for example, she said these two specifically. She said competitiveness and money orientated.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, SDR, BDR roles, there's only two things that they care about for SDRs and BDRs. One, that you're a hungry guy and you just want to make the most amount of money possible. And you will be willing to do whatever it takes to make that money, number one. Number two, actually, that covers both things, right? You're money hungry and you're competitive. So that is obvious. You got to come across as someone who's extremely competitive and you'll be willing to do whatever it takes to book that meeting, right? It's literally like that Wolf of Wall Street movie where the guys are like running around going crazy, calling hundreds of people up. That's the kind of personality you have to portray in a professional way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
honestly, I'm not surprised that she said that to you because that's super important. Why did she say that to you? Is it because you weren't talking about how, like, examples of how competitive you are, or?
Yeah. So I was talking about more of the reasons as to why I wanted to become or go into corporate sales and work for that company, but I didn't really talk about much of my own traits in a sense.
Look, from what I know about you, you've done little online businesses, you've worked with people that you know, and you've made your own thing, and you've made money from it. Talk about that. Talk about, look, I'm only 19. I made this much money when I was 18 because I'm really money hungry, and this is how I did it. I hacked the system. I found out how to do this specific thing. I did it by this 5-step process, and these are the results that I got. And the reason I did it is because I'm really money hungry, and I want to make as much money as possible by this specific age. When you say that kind of thing to them, it proves that you're money hungry because it proves that you have a specific goal of income that you want to reach by 35 or 30 or whatever. It's very cringy, right, when you say it to someone you know, but on an interview with these types of roles, that's literally what you have to say. I remember when I was doing interviews for these tech sales roles, and I wouldn't talk about how important money is to me, I swear to God, I would get rejected. But when I started talking about how important money is to me and why it's super important to me, they would start getting really happy. Like they would literally start smiling and they'd be like, yeah, this guy's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's quite funny when you talk about it, but yeah, no, that's true. It's true.
You know, so you had the first intro call, right?
Yeah.
And how long was that? 30 minutes?
Yeah, around that, like 20-30 minutes.
Okay, cool. And what else did she say to you?
That's it, really. She didn't really say much. She was just talking about, the company itself, and the upcoming stages and how it's going to go, salaries and whatnot. But that was the only advice she gave me was that last piece of advice. She said she was impressed, but she literally just said, yeah. Oh, and she did talk about some of my previous experiences.
And what was the problem with that? Was there any problem with that? Or?
There weren't any problems. She was actually quite impressed.
Okay, so she liked that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So yeah, look, I mean, just to summarize everything, right? Is Pav or anyone else from the community here that have interviews? By the way, if anyone else from the free community that we have that has an interview coming up, please feel free to join us as a guest after Mustafa, so we can do your prep as well. But bro, look, to summarize this, right? What I would say is, number one, those main traits, try and insert those keywords so you can trick the person, literally trick her into thinking that they're a good fit, right? Like that's what I would say. That's the first thing. Number two, for the role play, you need to find a script, okay, or find the exact role play that they do by contacting people that work at this company, okay? Mm-hmm. And I will try and get you my friend that works there so that he can tell you what the actual role play is, and then practice it with someone like 10, 15 times over, especially the objection handling part, and then you should be good to go. The rest of it is basic interviewing skills.
Okay then, well that sounds great. Thank you very much. I'll drop down because I don't want to take too much time. I'm sure
Yeah. No worries. Are you comfortable with your behavioral based interview questions? Do you have good stories to talk about?
Yeah, I do. A lot.
Okay, that's good. Because for me, that's like the most annoying part. Because like using the STAR method and stuff. But if you have that down, that's really really good. Because that's obviously like super important. And the why sales and why Gartner is super important as well. Like you have to have specific reasons as not Gartner, but the company you're interviewing for. But you have to have specific reasons as to why you want to work there. And you have to have specific reasons as to why you want to do sales, right? The specific reasons as to why you want to do sales is because you're extremely competitive, you love talking to people, and you love making a lot of money, as much money as humanly possible. And why the company, you need to find 3 specific reasons, which I can't tell you because, I haven't worked there, right? You just have to research them.
That makes a lot of sense. I will actually just, after the live finishes, I'll shoot you a message and I'll just tell you about some of the things of the behavioral things, the behavioral stories.
Yeah.
And tell me if they're like, good to go or whatever.
Yeah, definitely, because that's a big part of it. All right, bro. Well, good luck with the interview, man. Let us know how it goes, and then we can do another live session like this where we get you prepped for the next stage. So this is just stage 1, right? All of this stuff.
This is stage 1 at the moment.
Damn, it's a lot of work for stage 1, man. It's a lot of.
It's a big company, that's why. I'm sure.
Yeah. And would you be required to live in London or?
So it's actually really good because it's flexible. It's 4 days remote and then 1 day in the office.
Oh, that's amazing. That's really, really good. So you'll just train it there, I guess, from where you live, or?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I have a sister in London, so I can just crash her down that day.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Dude, that's perfect, man. That's really, really good. And sorry, just one last question. Did they tell you what are you going to be an SDR BDR for 1 year, or is it 2 years, or?
15 months is the program, and then you get promoted to an account executive, or it's actually based upon yourself. So if they're really impressed and they like what you're doing, they'll just keep promoting you quickly until you hit that the AE role.
Yeah, that's perfect, bro. Like literally, I would put all my eggs on this company, and don't even apply to other companies right now, because if you get this, you're going to be set in terms of your career of tech sales, because it's so well known. And I'm surprised they're hiring SDRs, BDRs, because I never knew they had SDRs, BDRs. But yeah, I don't know.
They don't actually call them SDRs, by the way. They call them like SDAs.
Okay, so sales.
Okay. But I asked my recruiter, and she was like, "Yeah, it's the same thing as an SDR, BDR role."
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Good luck, man. Keep us posted. I will see if anyone else wants to jump on and get prepped.
Yeah, no problem. Is it going to be posted on YouTube? I need to watch this back.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if we can download it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you guys go. But thank you for having me. Thanks for the help. Greatly appreciated.
Take care, bro.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah. All right. Who else is jumping on? Who else has an interview? Let me just message some people. Can you see in the comments if anyone else has an interview that's coming up?
I'm actually uploading some stuff onto YouTube, so I can see from there. It doesn't look like anybody else.
I think in a couple of minutes we'll just end it then if no one else has an interview that they need to prep for. I think we had like 4 or 5 people that had a... Thank you, Timo. Really appreciate the support, brother. And Timo, I think you're the software engineer, right? Definitely join the free community. I would love to talk to you a little bit more about how you can get involved, because we want to get more software engineers involved in our community, and we would love to have you a part of that. Also, okay, let's see. Awesome, yeah. Okay, cool. So we'll go on for about a couple of minutes more. We do a TikTok live like this every Thursday at 8 p.m. just generally to cover like doing commercial based roles in tech companies, whether it's tech sales, customer service, whatever. But today's one was, thank you, Anoviron, or whatever his name is. But today's one was just set up to get people prepped for an interview that's coming on. Right?
Is Pav around?
Okay, here he is, yeah.
Hi, Pav.
Hey, man, do you want to jump on the call as a guest to get prepped for your interview? I think Pav will be the last one because we got to get going. and I'm still recovering from a ear infection that I got, which is still hurting like crazy.
Oh, the lights switched.
Someone had a question here. The question was, what would you say about behavioral type questions? Behavioral type questions are super annoying. A quick, easy hack for that is to go on Glassdoor. There's a website called Glassdoor. I'm sure all of you guys know about it, but let me just add Pav as a guest. There you go, Pav. So go to Glassdoor, type in the name of the company and the role that you're interviewing for. Most people, well, a lot of people that I've interviewed for that role will post about their experience on Glassdoor, and they will mention the specific questions that they got asked. Write down those list of specific behavioral interview questions that they got asked, and then write a specific answer to that question using a stop format, and then just practice it. Ideally, you want to get someone on a call that works at that company, that specific role, so you can practice with them. But that's like a really quick hack on how you can pass a behavioral interview question. Hey, Pav, how's it going, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Just very quickly, like, tell people a little bit more about yourself. You don't have to mention the company name, but a little bit more about your background, and then a little bit more about the interview and the interview stage, and then we can have like a discussion about how you can prepare.
Yeah, sure. So I didn't go uni. I dropped out during COVID. And since then, I've basically just been working different jobs. So I've got a background in e-commerce management, digital marketing.
You jumped on a few weeks ago. I remember. Yeah.
I joined the live, I think it was 2 weeks ago, or I think.
2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the interview I had, it was for an SDR role. So it's an entry-level position. It was like a quick 30-minute call. The lady just wanted to ask me a few questions.
It was a HR recruiter round, right? Just basic questions.
Yeah. It was actually like an in-house recruiter. So she actually worked for the company. Mm-hmm. She asked me about my skills and experience. And she said I handled myself well on the phone, which was good. And then she basically just went on to explain about the assessment center, like the day that they've got going on. So they're going to invite a bunch of people for a lot of jobs. So like the SDR role, they're going to hire a lot of people, but they're going to assess all of them first. So she basically explained that we'll be put into groups of teams, and then they'd give us tasks to do, and then they'll basically judge us on our performance and like how we handle ourselves.
Okay.
And yeah, she basically just gave me advice.
Like an assessment center. Sorry, it's an assessment center where you have to do multiple exercises on the same day, right?
I believe so. Yeah, she didn't actually say what kind of tasks like we'd be doing. She did mention that we'd be given a task and we'd be, put in groups with different people. Okay. And I think we'd also have to present the task as well.
That makes sense. It's basically like a typical assessment center type of thing, right? Where like I've done loads of them for graduate schemes, for internships. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a typical assessment. Right.
So this would be my first time going to an assessment center. So what does it specifically involve?
Okay. Because for people that don't know, by the way, he had his own e-commerce business. So you didn't go to uni, and you've never really had a tech job before, right?
Yeah, no. So the closest thing I've had to a tech job was an e-commerce manager. Okay. So, I managed different platforms for the company I worked for, like, I think it was 2 years ago. And I also I was also a customer advisor there as well.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. So, firstly, is this going to be one assessment center day and then you either get the job or you don't get the job? Is that what she said?
I believe so, yeah. So she said that if I do well at the end of the day, then they'd basically tell me that that I'd be progressing forward and potentially getting the job on the day, or that, I'd be put through to the next round. She'd also say that if my performance wasn't adequate, then they'd basically they'd just take me to another room and say, I wasn't qualified.
You haven't got it. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's very normal. So didn't she give you any information on what the stages of the assessment center is like? She didn't say anything?
No. She didn't.
Why didn't you say anything?
I didn't want to be too pushy. She did say that she'd give me an email next week, and she'd give me more information about.
Oh, okay, so she's gonna give you more information anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
fine.
she did told me that they were gonna have a meeting today, in order to plan things out, and yeah.
Okay, fine. So this is an SDR role at a tech company. You said you know them, Brian. You like the company. I remember you told me that on WhatsApp. Is that the case?
Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah, because they're quite a big company, and they've got quite a lot of benefits going on as well. I mean, she did tell me the salary. I mean, it was lower than what I expected, but the good thing about this company is because it's so big. She did say there's a lot of room for improvement and promotions and stuff. So she did say within 6 months to a year, I'd be able to progress into like a manager role or a lead or things like that.
Okay, cool. So it's not really a typical tech sales type of career. It's more like a sales type of career then, I guess, right? Career trajectory, would you say?
Yeah, I mean the company it sells business software. So
so it is tech sales. Sorry, it is tech sales. Okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, perfect. So in my experience, to be totally honest with you, I've never done a tech sales interview where they had an assessment center. I've never done that before. Okay. But I have done a lot of assessment centers for normal graduate type of roles at like big companies, right? Or like for internships. Like when you're at university to get an internship or a graduate scheme or a placement year, you do an assessment center. Usually, what it looks like is that there's like multiple interviews. There's an exercise, which is usually a group project, and a presentation. That's usually the rough structure of how it works, right? Like an interview or multiple interviews, an exercise, a group project, and a presentation. Like roughly, that's how it looks like, right?
Yeah.
With the interview parts of the assessment center, there's going to be behavioral, and I think there might become competency ones. Behavioral ones, to be totally honest, like hack it, and the way that you can hack it is by either going to Glassdoor or talking to current employees and asking them what the questions were. Use the STAR format, write answers down to the behavioral questions, have some good stories, practice it, get onto the day, hopefully you do well. With the competency ones, it might be a little bit trickier because you haven't done sales before, so you might have to do a little bit of research on those competency-based questions and then make up some stories that would come up with good answers. But it will be a little bit tricky because you haven't done B2B sales before. So you might just have to like do a bit more research, practice it a little bit more, watch a few videos, and then get prepped for it like that. But the behavioral one is much easier because you can use the same answers they use in your previous job interviews.
Okay. So for the behavioral, I could probably just look on LinkedIn and see who's an SDR there.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, yeah, exactly. I would say message 10 to 20 people before someone is actually willing to get on a call with you. When you get on a call with the SDR, BDR, just ask the person, hey man, look, I've got an interview coming up. I would really love to work here. I would really, really appreciate it if you tell me the questions and then how you answered it. Honestly, you can literally be directed with people, right? What were the questions? How did you answer it? What kind of feedback did you get? And ideally, if this job is really important to you, by the way, Pav, if you really want to get it, ideally you want to speak to a few of those SDRs, BDRs at this company. And then practice with an interview buddy as well. But the behavioral ones are not that hard. It's the competency one that if you do have a competency interview that you may need to prep a lot more for, because the competency one might ask you a little bit more about sales, like how does the sales process work? How do you go about doing lead generation or outbound email campaigns? How do you run a sales demo? How do you handle objections? That kind of stuff, you might have to just do general research on that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just writing everything down that you're saying.
So focus a lot more on the competency one. Again, the biggest hack is to talk to outreach to 10 to 20 people that work there, get on a few phone calls, get the exact list of questions, write down the exact set of answers, The competency one, you just have to do general research because they want to test your ability to sell, and you have to sell because it's a sales job. You have to just research on that. There's going to be an exercise, which is going to be a team project. The team project, usually in a team exercise, what they really want to see is a few things, right? They want to see that you're a good listener, so never ever butt into anybody when they're talking. So like never be like, if she's talking, I'm never going to be like, and like give my point of view. I will never do that because that looks really bad. And there's an assessor always in the room that's writing notes. So never butt in. Always ask everybody's opinion. So if there's someone who's really quiet, always go to that person and be like, hey man, you didn't really say much. What's your opinion on this matter? And like take a note, like you're pretending that you're taking a note just to prove to them that you're a really good listener, right? Just be like, never butt in, go around the room, ask everyone about their opinion on a matter, bring the most quiet person into the room, into the conversation, and get their opinions on a matter. You don't need to be the loudest person there. You need to be the person that ideally you even talk less, because if you talk less, you're going to come up with less rubbish. Okay. So even be the quieter one, but just be the one that when he talks, he says really good stuff. And then in the group exercise, try and come across confident in the sense that when they want the person to present, that like if there's 4 people, one person is going to usually present. Sometimes it's all 4 people, right? But if they want one person to present, always put your hand up. That shows to them again that you can sell, you're confident, you're social, you're not shy, you can do public speaking, blah, blah, blah. So always do that. But again, never ever like try and get the attention on yourself. Try and spread the attention on everyone. That's super important. Those are the key things that you got to do in a team project exercise thing. The actual work that you have to deliver, honestly, is not important. It's more about how you work with a group of 3 or 4 people in a group setting. That's the most important thing.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No, I'm just writing everything down. I mean, it sounds pretty good. The lady on the phone pretty much said the same thing as well. She just said, go around the room, be talkative, don't be too shy or too quiet. And, she just said that it's a good opportunity to talk to the managers and really get in there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Have good questions. So if you do a lot of research on the company and the role before the interview, you're going to have really insightful research niche questions that nobody else asks. So make sure you don't ask about the culture or the vision or the mission. Nobody cares about that. Make sure you don't ask anything about the culture, the vision, or the mission. Ask about more specific, insightful, niche, research-based questions, because that's going to make you stand out. Nobody does that. That's the interesting thing. So like, if they've had a really recent niche acquisition of another company or of another software product that is in trend with today's market, talk about that, ask about that. Why did you acquire that? Or if you spoke to an SDR who became one of the best salespeople there within the company within 2 years, be like, how did this guy progress so quickly when everybody else is still an SDR? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That shows you've done loads of research. You can ask insightful question, and you're not a sheep. You're not just asking what everybody else is asking. So that's like the exercise interview part. Sorry, the team part of the interview process. What else was there? Was there anything else?
That was really about it. I mean, they did say that they'd give us feedback after.
Yeah.
And she also mentioned about that was about it from all my notes.
Okay. One thing I would say, and I think someone asked in the TikTok chat, what are the specific niche questions we can ask? You want to show them that you're super passionate about this company, product, and industry. So you want to show them that you're like an insider, not an outsider. So what I mean by that is, I'll use an AI company example because that's the kind of company that I work in. So before I interviewed at the company that I work for, which is an AI company, 2 years before that, I was using loads of different AI tools for sales, for content creation, for email writing, for everything. So literally any AI tool that you can mention, I've used it just because that's my own personal curiosity. So when I was in the interview with the manager, he was basically asking me about my passion for the industry and why I want to work there. and I was able to give a really good answer because I'm actually passionate. I've actually used a lot of tools. And then on the final interview, the sales manager guy was like, look, we're an AI company, so obviously we're going to use a lot of AI tools for our sales team. Which AI sales tools have you used? So I had to specifically tell him which ones I've used, for how long, how, and what results I produced. So to find niche specific questions to ask, you to be actually interested. You can fake interest, but you got to ideally do a lot of research to be able to do that. And again, it usually comes down to a recent small product acquisition that they've done that very few people know about. It's not on mainstream news, but you know about it because you're in specific Reddit groups or subgroups on Discord or on Facebook or on YouTube, and you know about it because you're passionate about the industry. You can ask about that. You can ask about someone that did really well in the role that you want to do. And again, you only know that because you spoke to that person. And then the final thing is like, ask specific questions about the person that's interviewing you. And again, very niche ones by digging in deep into that person's LinkedIn profile, right? So maybe they worked at a particular company and they worked there for a short amount of time. You can be like, hey man, why did you leave that company so quickly? It seems like it's a great company. What made you leave? That's the kind of question that very few people will ask, right? And then the final thing I would say is, you probably know this by now already, but always ask for the close. So always ask the hiring manager or whoever is interviewing you, is there anything else, did I miss anything, or is there anything that I can clarify to you right now to help you make the best decision possible in terms of this hiring process? You definitely have to ask that question because you're doing a sales role. And if you don't ask that question, then you're not really a sales guy. You're not really a closer. You're just another interviewee, right?
Yeah. So ask them about how I could help them with the hiring process.
Yeah, you could be like, Mr. Manager, I hope I've answered every single question that you have for me today. Was there anything else that I can clarify for you today that will help you make the best decision in terms of who you're going to hire? Or, Mr. Manager, I've really enjoyed this conversation because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. And I really love this job because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. I would love to work for you. Is there anything else that I can clarify today so that I can work for you or work for this company? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
That shows you were listening, you've got reasons, and you're closing and you're asking for the sale. The manager's going to have an objection. You could then clarify the objection. And again, it shows that you can actually sell. Do you know what I'm saying? You can actually show that what you're saying, what the role that you want to do, you can already do because you're proving it in the interview process.
Yeah.
Cool. There was a question in here from Sumia. Do every company do these assessments? No. So it's super rare that tech companies like this do assessment centers. I have never seen it. I've never done an assessment center for a tech sales job. For graduate jobs and stuff like that, I've done it, and I'm sure most people on the live have done it. But for tech sales companies, super rare. They never do an assessment center, so I don't know how it's happening. Usually it's a HR round, it's a phone call, sales manager round, it's a video call, an exercise, which is like a cold call or a demo, and then it's like a panel interview, which is another Zoom call, and that's it.
Yeah, because I actually had I had an interview before with this company, and the process was like completely different. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised that I've got to go to an assessment center, but yeah.
Yeah, cool, bro. Well, look, that's everything that you need to, I guess, prep for. Do your interview. If you get to the next stage, or if you get another interview, we might do another one of these.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you have any other questions, post it in the free community. By the way, for everyone that's listening, we run a free community which is called Break Into Tech. And what we do is we help people land remote tech jobs that don't necessarily have the experience or the background. We help you do that by doing these free calls, sharing our free guide, looking at your CV, LinkedIn profile. We've already helped 80 to 100 people in the last 12 months. So if you want to join that free community, DM Laura or me, and we can give you the free community and the free guide. Pav is in the free community. So that's pretty much everything for today. If there's no one else that has an interview coming up, we're going to end it today. Any other questions, Pav?
That's it, really. I mean, I've done a lot of research on the company already. Actually, my mum, she's a carer. She actually uses an app that was built and sold by the company. So
Yeah.
it's a great personal story to add.
Yeah,
in my-
exactly. Definitely talk about that. Definitely talk about that. And
Yeah.
you said you interviewed with them before. Maybe don't mention that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
maybe don't mention that because they're gonna be like, "Oh, you were interviewing for a design role. Now all of a sudden you want to go into sales. What the hell?" It's gonna look really weird.
yeah. I understand.
Awesome. Well, bro, have a good weekend. Everyone else, join the free community that we have if you want help like this every single day until you get a tech sales job. Cool. Any other final questions, Pav?
No, that's it. Thank you. Thank you guys for the extra live today as well. And yeah, hope you guys have a great evening.
Awesome, you too, man. Good luck. Keep us posted in the free community.
Yeah, I will. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Pav. Have a good one, guys. Take care. See you next Thursday, 8 p.m. UK time. We do a live every Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye.